Our lives are filled with ups and downs. In a day, we go through various different emotions. Is it possible that we can stay calm and composed irrespective of what emotion we go through? Let's find out in this verse 13 from Taoteching. Hi, welcome to Oneness. Today is day 13 and we will be looking at verse 13 from Taoteching. As usual, before we begin, let's observe a few seconds of silence. Thank you. So now let's look at verse 13 from Taoteching. Accept disgrace willingly. Accept misfortune as a human condition. What do you mean by accept disgrace willingly? Accept being unimportant. Do not be concerned with loss or gain. This is called accepting disgrace willingly. What do you mean by accept misfortune as a human condition? Misfortune comes from having a body. Without a body, how could there be misfortune? Surrender yourself humbly and then you can be trusted to care for all things. Love the world as your own self. Then you can truly care for all things. And let's allow a few seconds to sink in with this verse. Alright. So the verse 13 is actually self-explanatory. Laotzu clearly talks about how we should accept disgrace willingly and accept misfortune as a human condition. And when I read this verse, a state of equanimity is what came to my mind. In Buddhists, they talk about 4 Brahmaviharas and one of them is equanimity. So what is equanimity is? It is a state of being neutral without getting affected by any ups and downs of life. Be it be sadness or happiness, be it be prizing or not prizing, you stay at neutral. So that is a place or a state which is called equanimity. And that's why I like to call this chapter 13 as the way of equanimity. So now let's try to understand more about what Laotzu means in this verse 13. Accept being unimportant and do not be concerned with loss or gain. This is called accepting disgrace willingly. So the key word here is unimportant. That is, accept being unimportant. We all know that we need attention. Every one of us, we need some kind of an attention, and that we expect someone to show the respect to us, or the prize us and show that importance to us. And that expectation is what makes us either feel happy or sad. When that expectation is met, we feel happy. When this expectation is not met, then we feel sad. And this we can see in the day-to-day things around our life. So if our loved ones or the people who are closer to us, if they don't show importance, or if they don't show love, or if they don't help us, we feel rejected. Hence, we feel sad. If they show us an importance, and if they show love, and if they help us, we feel happy. So that way, it is a state of mind of expectations. And ego as well comes from to make ourselves important. Right? So in a social context, if someone gives us an importance, we will say, oh yeah, that feels good. But when they don't show importance, we feel sad. This verse is also about how we validate our own action and our own behavior. And there are 2 types of people. A people who look inwards to decide whether what have they done is right or wrong, or good or bad. And the other side is the people who will expect the validation from external source. So that is what called internal validation and external validation. So the external validation is for anything, any deed that we do, we expect someone to say that, oh, you have done that nicely, you've done it good. If we don't say that, we feel sad. We don't allow ourselves to feel it. Instead, we rely on external person or some situation and someone to tell us whether how we did. So that is external validation. The internal validation is tuning within to know how we did, how we perform. So that is internal validation. So as long as we tune to the external validation, we are prone to comparison. Some will criticize us, some will praise us. And the state when we attain that we are neutral to both praises and criticism, then we will be in a state of equanimity. So now let's go to accept misfortune as a human condition. So what does it mean? So here the Laotzu talks about misfortune comes from having a body. Without a body, how could there be misfortune? So how I relate this verse is the human body. From the time that we wake up in the morning, why do we exercise and we eat? That is to maintain this body. Why do we need shelter on top of us? It is to protect this body. Why do we wear a fancy clothes and jewels? It is to decorate the body. And all the physical pleasures that we take and enjoy, it is to comfort the body. So the body becomes a way to experience the life itself. And as long as we relate and attach to this body, all we go through in a day, it is just to the bodily needs. So when we let go of our own importance, which comes from the bodily needs, then we will be out of the misery of misfortune from having a body. All the pain and pleasure is for the body. Of course, the mind also do go through the pain, but then it is not as significant as what we experience through the body. So that's why he talks about misfortune is from having a body. Without a body, how could there be a misfortune? With that, let's move to the last few lines. Surrender yourself humbly, and then you can be trusted to care for all things. So, when we let go of our need for being important, and also when we let go of our identity-based needs, then we can truly care for someone, the everyone and everything in this world. We can show the care, compassion, and love without any limits. So that's what this verse means to me. And there is a saying, treat others in a way that you want to be treated. So that way, when we let go of our all this identity, ego, and importance, we can truly care for others. And that way, we can love the world as our own self. Then you can truly care for all things. So that's when we can open our eyes and see that everyone and everything is as important as me, as our own self. And that's what we can call it as a reflections of our own self in everything that we see. And all the reflection is nothing but one divine creation, which is, we call it as God. So that is the state it's better to be in. So with that, we come to an end of verse 13. And one actionable thought for today is, as the day go by, look within. At any given point in time, if you feel agitated, sad, or unhappy, just tune within and ask yourself, how can I detach myself from this situation or the things that happen and feel peace within me and be in a state of equanimity, whereas I detach and stay neutral, whereas all the emotions and situations and people around me can move in any direction. They can bring in happiness or they can make me unhappy. But then I choose to not get affected by the external factors, or even I don't relate myself to my mind, and then I will feel neutral. So that way we can be in a way or a state of equanimity. And with that, we come to end of day 13 and verse 13 of Taoteching. See you tomorrow.